Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to aBlogtoWatch videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a very interesting review and something which I would probably say is for the collectors. Now, let's talk a little bit about what this watch is and who made it. This is the Rpaige Wrocket, Rocket with a W, W-R-O-C-K-E-T. Now, Rpaige stands for Richard Page. Richard Page is a watchmaker. He used to have a watch store in San Francisco. He now lives in Hawaii. And Richard Page, at least for the internet watch lover community, is kind of a noteworthy character because he was one of the founders of the site timezone.com, which is a pretty popular forum. TimeZone is now owned by the auctioneer Antiquorum, so it changed hands actually twice since Mr. Page sold it. It's an entirely different site today than what it was then, but it was, it was for a while, especially in sort of the early 2000s, late 90s, like the premier place on the internet to look at watches. And he has now released a watch under the brand Rpaige. And this is a watch he's been wanting to make for a while. I think he said since the late 80s he actually wanted to make this watch. He had to shelf the idea. And he's finally able to do it in a limited edition. Now, the point of this watch is interesting. It's basically meant to house restored, vintage, American-made, what were at the time pocket watch movements, made by Waltham or Elgin. Now, this one particular has a Waltham movement in there. And the movements, according to Mr. Page, were produced from about 1896 to approximately 1930. And he was able to source a number of these movements, not that many, and what he did is really, and I believe him because they're in pretty good shape, meticulously restore, refinish, and then decorate them. So he basically had these movements that, are some of them over 100 years old, that were originally made to power American-made pocket watches, and he wanted to put them in a wristwatch because this watch is 44 millimeters wide, and that's a good size today for a men's watch, but for a long time that wasn't. So he was able to acquire these movements, and it took a lot of effort in order to restore them. So the movement is very, very attractive. You can see here that there's a lot of decoration, and it's not just polishing; it's actual decoration, machine engraving, little patterns and swirls, and very, very beautiful things there. Of course, the movement is manually wound, and it has, just the time with subsidiary seconds dial. The dial is, it's a mixed bag. You're either going to like this dial or you're not going to like this dial. I think the hands are interesting. I would have really liked for them to be a little bit more legible. The problem when you have a black dial and you don't have black, or you don't have, positively light colored hands, is it tends to blend in with the dial a little bit, and it sacrifices legibility. So he tried to do something interesting here. He didn't just want to have hands. He tried to make these hands that had these circles around them. But I think that the hands, especially the minute hand, could have been larger. The base dial itself is fine. I just think the hands could have been improved a little bit to make this a little bit more interesting. But it's definitely unique. The hour indicators do have lume, and they're very legible, as you can see. They look great, but the hands do not have lume. So I think that's an interesting thing. But the good thing is this is the type of watch that I'm sure if you want different hands in here, you would do it. There is a light colored dial of the Rocket that I think is going to be slightly better in terms of legibility. The case is interesting. It comes in steel or titanium, and it has these kind of unique looking lugs there with kind of very Art Deco in style. I actually like the lugs there. I think it's nice. And again, this is 44 millimeters wide. There's going to be 199 pieces in steel as a limited edition. Only 99 pieces, I believe, in titanium. And there's a nice sapphire crystal there in the crown. You see, I always like when they do that. That was a nice unexpected touch. The strap here is great. This is, it's leather. I think it's it might be like a buffalo leather, but it might not be. But it's a nice, it almost feels like soft baseball mitt leather. But it's not stiff. It's very soft. And this is a great strap. I mean, they did a good job sourcing the strap there. I like this. So let's put this watch on and check this out. I like the stitching on the strap there. So I mean, it's overall it's a good piece. The price isn't too bad for what it is, and people really are going to buy these because of the movement, because this is a vintage restored, antique U.S. made movement in a modern watch. It wears nicely. So I'd say that the Rpaige Wrocket is overall a success. I think that I would have liked to seen a different set of hands on here. That really would have sort of, sealed the deal for me. Price for each of these is $2,400, and I believe that is for either steel or titanium, and they can be purchased online via the Rpaige website. And you can see the full review of the Rpaige Wrocket on aBlogtoWatch soon. Thanks.